Hello everyone! We are from group 1. My name is Indah Banda, and there is my friend Anissa Tuliza, Siti Munawara, and Dwi Ulfa Yunita Kusuma. We will present two results of our discussions on the history of English teaching methods. The first one is the grammar translations method. 1. Grammar translation is a way of studying a language that approaches the language first starts detailed analysis of its grammar rules, followed by applications of this knowledge to the task of translate sentence and text into and out of the target language. Second, reading and writing are the major focus. Little or no systematic exertions is applied to speaking or listening. And 3. Vocabulary selection is based solely in the reading text use, and words are taught through bilingual word lists, dictionary study, and memorization. And 4. The sentence is the basic unit of the teaching and language practice. 5. A query is implicit. 6. Grammar is taught sequentially, that is by presentation and study of grammar rules, which are then practiced through translation exercise. And last, the student native language is the medium instructions. Next
is language teaching innovation in the 19th century. Toward the mid-19th century, several factors contribute to a questioning and rejection of the grammar translation method. Increased opportunities for communication among Europeans create a demand for oral proficiency in foreign language. Initially, this created a market for conversation books and praise books intended for private study. But language teaching specialists also turned their attention to the way modern languages were being taught in secondary school. The Frenchman C. Marcel, 1793 to 1896, referred to child language learning as a model for language teaching. Emphasized the importance of meaning in learning, proposed that reading be taught before the skill, and tried to locate language teaching within a broader education framework. The Englishman T. Prendergast, 1806 to 1886, was one of the first to record the observation that children use contextual and situational cues to interpret an utterance, and that they use memorized phrase and routine in speaking. He proposed the first structural syllabus, advocating that learning be taught the most basic structural pattern occurring in the language. The Frenchman F. Gon, 1831 to 1896, is perhaps the best known of this mid-19th century reform. The Frenchman F. Gon, 1831 to 1896, is perhaps the best known of this mid-19th century reform. Gon developed an approach to teaching a foreign language based on his observation of children's use of language. He believed that language learning was facilitated through using language to accomplish events consisting of a sequence of related actions.
The Reform Movement. One of the earliest goals of the actions was to improve the teaching of modern language. 1. The study of spoken language. 2. Phonetic training in order to establish good pronunciation habits. 3. The use of conversations, texts, and dialogues to introduce conversational phrases and idioms. 4. An inductive approach to the teaching of grammar. And the last, teaching new meaning strokes establish associations with the native language.
Next is direct method. Direct method of teaching, which is sometimes called natural method, and it is often used in teaching foreign language, but not exclusively. Difference from using the learner's native language and use only the target language. So when the teacher decides to use direct methods, it means the teacher should fully talk in English during the teaching and learning process. The next slide is talk about the history and the goals of direct method. A direct method established in German and French around 19th century. It came after grammar translation method was not very effective, preparing students to use English communicatively. The method of teaching was developed as a response to the grammar translation method. It sought to immerse the learner in the same way as when the first language is learned. All teaching is done in the target language. Grammar is taught inductively. There is a focus on speaking and listening, and only useful in everyday language is talk. The goal of direct method we can understand clearly from my explanation so far that the purpose is preparing students to be able to use English communicatively in real life. Next slide is talk about the principle of the direct method. We can see in the first point is instructions are given exclusively in the second language. So as we know, the direct method is fully taught English or the target language in the teaching learning process. The new instruction or to some activity in the class should be given in the target language because native language is not allowed in this class. The next point is oral communication skills are taught progressively by questioning and answering. So in the direct method class, the most activity that teacher can occur is questioning and answering between student and teacher or student with another student. So in this activity, oral communication is taught directly at that time. The next point is every day they are taught a certain number of phrase and vocabulary because in the class is fully taught about in the target language. So we couldn't agree anymore that every day student will learn about the new vocabulary or phrase from the teacher. The next point is introduce new vocabulary by demonstration, objects, or pictures. So when the student couldn't get the meaning in the new word, the new vocabulary, teacher will describe it or give the information about the new vocabulary in the target language. Or teacher will give the demonstration or the object or even the pictures of the new vocabulary. Teacher will describe it until the student understood the new vocabulary in the target language without using native language. The fifth point is grammar is taught inductively and emphasis placed on correct pronunciation and grammar. So teacher will fix the student wrong pronunciation or grammar during the questioning and answering activity in the classroom. So while student do the wrong grammar or pronunciation while speaking or answering the question in the classroom, teacher will correcting the grammar or pronunciation directly in the class. So when the teacher give the right pronunciation, all students in the classroom should repeat the right pronunciation to prevent the same error in the classroom. And the last point is they are taught conversation and listening comprehension because this is the direct method class. We couldn't agree anymore that they will learn about conversation and listening every meeting. They will learn about conversation while questioning and answering activity, and they will learn about listening while they listen to their teacher's explanation. That's all from me. Next slide will be explained by my friend.
Okay, the next material I will explain about the method era. So, one of the lasting legacies of the direct method was the nation method itself. Controversy over direct method of the first of many debates over how a second foreign language should be thought. History of language teaching throughout much of the 20th century saw the rise and fall of a variety of language teaching approach and methods. The different teaching approach and method that having emerged in the last 60 or so years, often having very different characteristics in terms of goals and assumption. How about a second language is learned? Preparate teaching technique. Common the belief and that if language learning is to be improved, it will come about through change and improvement in teaching methodology. Publisher who product and sell textbook based on the latest teaching approach and method by the teacher who are constantly looking for the best method of the teaching a language. Material about the period in the method era. So in the 1950 to the 1980 is the most active period in the story is approach and method. The next years is 1950 to the 1960, the emergence of the audiolingual method and the situational method, which were both absorbed by the communicative approach. The next years is 1990. Content-based instruction and task-based language teaching emerged as new approach to language teaching as did movements such as competency-based instruction that focus on the outcome of learning rather than method of teaching. The other approach such as cooperative learning, whole language approach, and multiple intelligence originally developed in general education have been extended to the second language. The next material about approach and method in teacher preparation program. So, divide the changing status of approach and method in language teaching. The study of past and present teaching method continues to form a significant component of teacher preparation program. So, the reason are the study of approach and method provide teacher with a view of how the field of language teaching has evolved. Next, approach and method can be studied not as prescription for how to teach but as source of well-used practice, which teacher can adapt or implement based on their own need. For the next experience in using different teaching approach and method can provide teacher with basic teaching skills that they can later add to or supplement as they develop teaching experience. So this is the orientation we adopt toward the teaching approach and method. However, it is necessary to conceptualize the notion of approach and method systematically. Okay, that's all for us. Thank you for your attention. And if we made a mistake, we say so sorry. And we say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.